Well, that was a quick show. This is your Backlash review. You know, the show is over early. Not even 3 hours long was this PLE, which tells me that they really wanted to make sure that this show was over before the UFC pay-per-view started, number one, and which started at 9 o'clock. And number two, probably also the Laker game, but more so UFC, because I know there is a UFC show tonight. I don't have any issue with it. I thought it was great. In and out, just like that. But yes, we have to talk about Backlash tonight. And we got a bunch of stuff to dive into, which will be kind of nice because if you were with me last night for the SmackDown review, we had to talk about the funeral of the Gingerbread Man. Yes. And not just one segment. It was a story thread throughout the entire night. So now we could put that in the rear view and we can talk about this show tonight, which included a main event of Roman Reigns defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Jacob Fatu. Not a match where I expected to see Roman Reigns lose the championship. He did not lose the championship. Just won it 3 weeks ago. Realistically, they were not taking the title off of Roman Reigns 3 weeks after winning it at WrestleMania. But the thing I kept mulling over, and you heard me talking about on many of the streams, is I wonder what finish they're going to go with. And who, if anybody, is going to show their face and get involved in the finish of the match. Is it going to be a one and done where Roman just beats him 1, 2, 3 and that's it? And I actually like the way they did the finish tonight because they did the finish in a way where we got a clean match between the two of them. We did not have the Usos. We did not have some big surprise, Solo Sikoa, nobody like that. We had a one-on-one battle, a war between these two men that ended with Roman Reigns pinning Fatu in the middle of the ring. And Fatu, when the match was over, absolutely losing his mind, going nuts like a madman, and putting Roman down multiple times with the Tongan death grip. Really trying to get that Tongan death grip over. He's got the fingers taped and everything now. This is his new gimmick. And he was a wild man out there. He even took Adam Pearce when he came out to try to settle him down, threw him out of the ring. And I know it came across like, okay, so long, Roman. We're not going to see you for a few months. That would be awful, of course, since he's the World Heavyweight Champion. Roman is scheduled for Clash in Italy at the end of this month. I can't say that he's going to be on Raw this week or next week or the week after that, but he is scheduled to be on the next PLE. Sounds like we're going to get 2 different world title matches on that show. And I would figure they would want Roman on that show in Italy. Kind of like Julia, honestly. I mean, he's got some family ties. He's got an Italian side of his family, right? I believe that's where his mom is from. But yeah, so what was pretty well established when this match was over is that they are going to run this back, which is great. And now they have established Jacob Fatu as this just unstoppable, dangerous individual who can snap at a moment's notice. And it did come across like this was more of a full-on heel turn for him here. Nothing they've done on TV in recent weeks would indicate that, but his behavior when this match was over would indicate that this probably was meant to be a heel turn for Jacob Fatu. And we'll see where it goes as far as the Usos are concerned because, you know, he cut that off last night on SmackDown and said, you better not be thinking about getting involved in my match. Stay away. And they did. As far as we know, they were not even there tonight. How are they going to react to this? Right? Roman's still the champion, but, you know, Jacob put him down. How are the Usos going to, you know, react to this? And what's their response going to be? So that's going to be the story now coming out of this until we get the rematch. And we will be getting a rematch, I'm sure, between these two. There was nothing blowaway in the ring tonight. I thought the main event was very good. IYO SKY and Asuka was also very good. To me, they had the match of the night. And maybe the most wild stat of all when we talk about this Backlash show is the fact that IYO SKY and Asuka actually got more time in the ring than Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu did, if you can believe it. They both went about the same amount of time, but I think IYO and Asuka got maybe 30 seconds longer than they did in the main event, which is crazy. More than enough time for both matches. More than enough time for both these matches and the people involved to go out there and tell the story they needed to tell. IYO and Asuka, I always knew they were going to have a very good match. I never for 1 second doubted the quality of the match they would have when they were out there. What I questioned was, what would the feeling be with them out there fighting and Kairi saying nowhere to be found? And I was kind of hoping that maybe they could work out some sort of arrangement with Kairi just to get her in to at least finish out this story, you know, with her two friends. I understand if they did go to her and she said no, I probably would have said the same thing. I would have said piss off. I don't know if they went to her or not. I'm guessing not. When the match was over, that really was the one big thing that was missing. As good as the match was, great match, right? But there was an actual story here. And you watch them out there and you watch the finish of the match and something's missing. Because there was a story that was being told on television for many months. And again, we never got the payoff to it. This was supposed to be it. Tonight was supposed to be the night. And it wasn't there. Now, had they done this match at WrestleMania, ain't no way they're going out there and getting 18 minutes. Okay, so they actually got more time tonight than they would have at WrestleMania. But the trade-off here is that even if they would have gone to WrestleMania and got half that, if they got 9 minutes at WrestleMania, Kairi was still employed at that time, I believe. And so they could have actually finished the story off with Kairi Sane on that show. And I would rather have that than 9 more minutes. I would rather them go out there and have a good match instead of a very good match, but give us that payoff at the end. So that was the one thing that was missing. I'm like, man, this crowd, man, they would have gone crazy if they would have done this in a way where Kairi finally stood up to Asuka. And what a great ending that would have been. So unfortunately tonight, we didn't get it. That was the one thing that was missing. There was, when the match was over, the two women came together. There was a reunion between the two of them, Io and Asuka. They put their differences aside. And the way Asuka was acting, the way Asuka was behaving, the way Asuka was kind of waving to the crowd, there's something little more than just the ending of a match and, hey, you know, paying respect to my opponent going on here. There was something going on here where I'm not sure if, I don't want to say this was her last match, but it came across to me like Asuka, if she isn't done, may be winding down very soon. I hope I'm wrong, because I still feel like she's got a lot to contribute. I know she's been there for a long time. I hope it's not the end for her, but it's just that vibe. I got that vibe with what was going on there in the post-match, but I hope I'm wrong. But Danhausen actually got a match here on this show. Danhausen has been all over the place. He's been all over the TV shows, and the fans love him. He's over. He sells a lot of merch. So, of course, they're going to run him into the ground until people are sick of seeing him. So we got a match on this show. Now, we came into this PLE, only 5 matches were announced for this show. Not a single women's championship match on the show, but they had time for Danhausen and a mystery partner against The Miz and Kit Wilson. And there were a lot of people talking about who the mystery partner was going to be. There were a lot of people thinking it was going to be CM Punk. I had people tweeting me, the betting odds. Fuck about the betting. I don't give a fuck about the betting odds. The fuck do I care about the betting odds? I don't give a shit. It was never going to be CM Punk. I don't know why. I don't know where this narrative came from other than the two of them were friends. They were not going to use CM Punk for this. Jelly Roll is the one that I kept coming back to because he actually had involvement with these men in this story leading into WrestleMania. Had things gone differently, he very likely was going to be in the main event of this show, or one of the main events. Think about that. Had things gone a little bit differently with Randy Orton and Pat McAfee. And it was not Jelly Roll. It was not Jelly Roll. It was not CM Punk. It was not Royce Keys. It was none of these people. In fact, who it turned out to be was not exactly a big name. Literally, no one big. Let that be a clue. Let that be a small clue as to who his tag team partner was. I think my perspective on this may actually be quite different than you're going to hear from a lot of other people. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Especially coming off my diatribe last night during the SmackDown review when it came to the gingerbread garbage. I didn't hate this the way that I think some people may end up hating it. Now, don't get me wrong. It had no business being on this show. When you are so limited that you only have 5 matches to fill on your premium live event, this should not be one of those matches. And I understand, you want to have that one come down match or the comic relief. Yeah, not on a card that has 5 matches. Not when so many other performers on your show, not when so many other wrestlers are left out in the cold with no spot on the card whatsoever. This match should have been on SmackDown. It was a television match through and through. Anybody who's upset with the fact that this ended up on the PLE over some of the other stuff that we could have had, 100%, I feel you. I feel you. But I did not hate what they did here. We'll talk about what ended up happening. You combine all of this, though, with the other matches on the show. I thought Backlash overall, it was good. It was a good show. It was not a great show. I don't know what number I would give to it. Not anything too terribly high, but it was good. I mean, again, the actual in-ring action we got in most of the matches was good. But that wasn't all we got. Because the biggest thing that they were hyping up for this show was John Cena, who retired in December. He was the host of WrestleMania 3 weeks ago. Already he was back. I think he lives in Tampa. I said this the other day. For him, it's easy because he could probably go home and sleep in his own bed tonight. And he had been hyping on his social media that there was going to be some sort of epic, and these are words that he was using, okay? I'm not just pulling this out of my ass here. He was using words like epic. He was using words like historic, history-making. It was going to rock the very foundation of WWE. When you start doing that, and you start using words like that, 9 times out of 10, there is no way you are going to be able to live up to your own hype. So I don't know why they do this. They've done this before. They continue to do it. I know they're trying to sell, ESPN subscriptions. But they never do themselves any favors by using words like that, because invariably you're going to just leave people very disappointed no matter what it is that you announce. And I'm sure it will be the same tonight. However, most people, myself included, figure, well, this is going to be tied into this new club WWE thing that they seem to be making Cena the face of. It's their new fan club. They haven't rolled it out officially yet. We still don't know what the membership fee is going to be and all that. And I think a lot of people figured that it was tied into that. That's why Cena was going to be on the show. Must be tied into club WWE. And who's to say, by the way, that it won't be? We don't know for sure that there won't be some sort of club WWE tie-in here, but that's not what it was. The announcement from John Cena tonight was that coming soon, he didn't even tell us when. We have no date. We have no date. We have no location. We have no time. We have no additional details as of yet on this. Maybe tomorrow. But there is going to be an event titled the John Cena Classic. You know, in NXT, we had the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Of course, tag team wrestling is dead in WWE, so we don't have any tag team classics anymore. But there's going to be the John Cena Classic. And basically the theme of it is going to be very similar to what Cena pushed for on his final show on that Saturday night's main event that we had in December, where there were people in the company, one person in particular, Bruce, who wanted John Cena to have his match with Gunther, and that was going to be the one match on that show. Entire show built around John Cena, no other matches except John Cena against Gunther. And it was Cena, as a shoot, legit, who pushed for the idea of having matches on the card that showcase talents from NXT. That's how we got Cody Rhodes against Obafemi. That's how we got Sol Ruka against Bayley. That's how we got AJ Styles and Dragon Lee against Leon Slater and Javon Evans. And it's a good thing they did that, because those are the matches that really ended up carrying the show in many ways. So this is basically following the same concept. Only this event, Cena's attaching his name to it. It's going to be an annual, well, he hopes it will be an annual event. He admits he doesn't even know if this is going to work. The idea is that it's going to be a one-time event, but hopefully they'll do it maybe once a year going forward. And it'll pit WWE main roster talents in matches against NXT talents. Again, very similar to what we saw a few months ago. I don't believe he ever used the word tournament or You know, it's not like a Survivor Series style match or anything like that. He just said that there will be matches pitting talent from main roster against NXT. And that is the idea behind it. Yeah, somebody in the chat mentioned Mason Rook. Mason Rook, that's his new name, huh? Will what's the guy's name again? Will is it not Will Cruz? I already forgot the guy's last name. I'm already calling him Mason Rook. I forgot his other name. Cena's a big fan of that guy. He just debuted on NXT. Cena was posting stuff on social media about him. You could tell he's a big fan of that guy. I think someone like him is going to end up doing real well on a show like this. Cruz, thank you. Will Cruz. I was right. Okay, so it is Will Cruz. So the idea is that they're going to have these matches and there's going to be a championship, which just what we need. We need the creation of more championships, I know. In this case, if it's a championship that's more of a trophy, it's not a championship that's meant to be defended, you know, kind of like the Owen Hart Foundation belt that you get if you win the Owen Hart tournament in AEW, or if you win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, you get the Andre the Giant trophy. We see it one night, we never see it again. If it's something like that, fine. It's basically the equivalent of a trophy or a medal or something, a certificate of achievement, something to that effect. What we don't need is some sort of championship that is to be defended. We don't need that. But there's going to be a belt made in his name, and the winner of this competition is going to become the John Cena Classic Champion. How do you win this competition? This is going to be the point of contention. Now, we don't have all the details yet, but the way that he described it, just very weird. The way that he described it is that there's going to be a series of matches. However, the key here is that they're going to implement fan voting. The fans will be able to make their voices heard as far as who they like, who they don't like. Everybody who qualifies for this, everybody who is going to be wrestling on this show, is automatically qualified to be voted on by the fans as the John Cena Classic Champion. So you could go out there and have a match or matches on this show and lose every single match, and it doesn't matter. Because if the fans like you enough and they vote for you, you will supersede everybody else and you will win the competition. So basically, it's a popularity contest. Having the actual matches is meant to be a showcase for people, but the wins and losses here, they don't matter. Which is why I think the idea of even having a championship in the first place is incredibly fucking dumb. I mean, why even bother having a belt? The hell do you need a belt for? Assuming it is going to be a belt. I don't know if he didn't call it a belt. He called it a championship. I hear championship, I think belt. So there's a lot that we still have to learn as far as exactly how this thing is going to work. Is this epic? Right? I mean, is this an epic announcement? Some people will say it is. I'm not one of those people. No, it is not epic. Is it historic? Not really. Not really, because again, it's just basically playing off what we already saw in December. This is not a new concept. And also, the idea of fan voting is something that we've also seen before in WWE. Many years ago, we had Taboo Tuesday. We had Cyber Sunday. And those shows did so well that they got rid of the concept. And I think the only time they brought it back, I think they brought it back for television. And I've always said, like, I'll get a question in the mailbag every now and then, maybe even every couple of years, from somebody asking me about, oh, should they bring back Cyber Sunday? And I'm like, no. I was never a big fan of it. I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. When those pay-per-views rolled around, I was like, let's just get this over with. That's just me. I wasn't really a big fan of the way they used to, implement the fan voting and do those shows. I always thought, you know what? This gimmick works a lot better. Plus, again, it's a pay-per-view. So part of it for me is like when I was going into a pay-per-view back then, I wanted to know what the fucking card was. And we never knew. Back then, it was like, well, the fans are going to vote. We didn't know what the matches were going to be. To me, that's a TV gimmick. You can do that on an episode of Raw. You can do that on an episode of SmackDown. That's fine. I mean, fuck, we go into SmackDown on most weeks and we don't even have most of the card put together. 4 matches are being made during the show itself. So there's no harm in doing a concept where you put it to fan vote. So now they're basically taking the old Taboo Tuesday and Cyber Sunday concept and they're reviving it just in a different kind of way. There's nothing really historic or epic about it. I think, here's what I like about it. I like the idea of shining a spotlight on talents from NXT, which again is like what they did in December. That was big for Obafemi to get in the ring with Cody Rhodes. That was big for Sol Ruca to get a win, right? I believe she won, over Bayley. Javon Evans, Leon Slater. I know Leon's a TNA guy, but you know, they went out there and they were, I mean, you could tell like they knew that was a big opportunity for them in front of a big audience to show up and show out. And they did. So I like that. And doing it once a year, there's no harm in doing that, right? It's a special one night only thing. Like think of Evolution last year, the all women's show, right? And that turned out to be a great show. So I think the concept could work as a showcase when it comes to the fan voting and them picking the winner or the winners and having a championship of some kind and what the competition actually looks like. Is it tournament style? Is it just a series of random matches? Do the fans vote on who gets to be in the match? This is where I'm a little confused about how all of this is going to work. So they have to flesh this out first before I can make a full judgment on how I really feel about it, but I don't hate the idea. That's fine. I mean, if they're looking for something unique to do for one night, as long as it doesn't take away from what they're doing, you know, with the main roster stuff, then that's fine. And you could tell that this was I'm listening to John Cena pitching this idea. And he keeps saying like, you know, hopefully this will be an every year thing. And I really hope it works. Like, you could tell that this is something he came up with. I don't believe that this is something that was brought to him and they said, hey, can you put your stamp on this? We'll put your name on it. This is something that he wanted to do. I think he wants to still be involved in some way. We hear stories about him showing up at the Performance Center and giving advice to people. He showed up at the dungeon, you know, where Natty and TJ are training people. He showed up, I think, at Bailey's first, the Lodestone seminar, the all-women's seminar that she did. So I believe that he genuinely cares about that sort of thing and wants to be involved in some way. And maybe the company went to him and they said, well, look, if you have an idea for what you want to do, come up with an idea, come back to us, and we'll talk about it. Not unlike what AJ Styles did. You know, AJ Styles retired and AJ Styles was like, well, what do I want to do now? I don't want to just necessarily be a coach at the Performance Center. He came up with this idea of like what his role in WWE should be. He wants to be the guy who goes out there and basically helps. His role is kind of multifaceted. He wants to help like recruit talent from the indies, but also like he wants to go around backstage and just check in with people and see how they're doing, almost like a guidance counselor, like a mental health counselor. How you doing? How you feeling? Is everything going okay? They're coming up with this stuff on the fly because these guys are retiring, but they still want to have 1 foot in, right? 1 foot out, 1 foot in. But what does that look like? Like, what role is that? There's no current position that exists for what AJ Styles is doing. They've kind of created this niche role for him. And the sense I get is that it may be a similar situation with John Cena, where it's like, okay, you've earned the right to try to come up with, you know, an idea that you think you might want to go with and come to us and we'll see if we can make it work. And I think that this is the product of that. And so it may be imperfect, but for them, it's a way to keep John Cena in the fold. And I'm sure TKO and WWE would love to keep John Cena in the fold. And if this is what he wants to do, then fuck it. We'll give him a one-night event and we'll make him happy. And that's what I think is going on here. But nothing he was going to announce tonight was ever going to be able to live up to the hype around it over the past week. But again, it's admirable that he wants to help shine a spotlight on the stars of tomorrow. Can't hate on that. I do think there is a very big issue, though, in WWE. And I talked about this last night on the SmackDown review. I mean, there's a lot of issues in WWE, but one of the issues I have, and I've seen it with Ricky Saints over the last couple of weeks, It's great that they can call people up. Night one, they're in there with Cody Rhodes. Night one, boom, they're in there with Liv Morgan, right? Putting a big spotlight on them. Obafemi, my God, he debuts and he accepts the open challenge for WrestleMania with Brock Lesnar. That's great. What we need to see more of, though, is actual character development. Character development, vignettes on television over the course of many, many weeks as you prepare to debut somebody new, so that when they arrive, people, not just a few people who watch NXT, but a lot of people will be more familiar with them. And hopefully that will help in terms of like when they debut, the reactions they get, whether they get booed, cheered, whatever it may be, instead of some of these people debuting to crickets. And it just feels like, man, they're not over. What's wrong here? Well, because you haven't taken the time to educate people about this person. Like, who are they? What's their persona? What's their character? They're not doing enough of it. They're doing it with some people, but they're not doing it with enough. My fear is that by doing more of this type of stuff, you're going to have an event like this, and you're just going to throw a bunch of people in there, and they'll have some cool matches, and some of them will get over, and some of them won't, and some of them then might get called up to the main roster. And then you kind of throw them in there, and it's like, now what? I just hope they take the time to really do a better job of just developing these characters on television, on Raw or SmackDown, not NXT, before they show up, because I do think there's a distinctly different audience between the two. I mean, I used to watch NXT every single week. I pay attention only to very limited things now that appeal to me when it comes to that show. I don't watch NXT week to week. If there's somebody who stands out to me, I'll pay attention to what they're doing. But I think you have a lot of people out there who are fans of WWE, call them casual, I mean, call them whatever you want, who aren't watching NXT week to week, and they genuinely don't know who Ricky Saints is. They don't know who Ethan Page is. They can look at Obafemi and they don't really need to know too much about him because, God, this guy's fucking awesome. Look how cool this guy looks. Sol Ruka. I don't know. She's got kind of that Lita, Jeff Hardy vibe going on. She was over from day one, right? But it doesn't work that way for everybody. So I just hope that this is not, going to make that problem worse by just throwing a bunch of people into the deep end of the pool before they're ready and the audience is just like, all right. And then certain people end up not getting over because of it. Anyway, let's talk about this show here. This is your Backlash 2026 review. I am the Solomonster. Thank you for hanging out with me here on a Saturday night. We're going to talk about this show from top to bottom and then get your feedback. Super chats are open, so get them on in if you want to support the channel. And also, if you want to just chime in with your thoughts on Backlash, what did you think of the John Cena news? Are you a fan of it? Are you not a fan of it? How would you like to see it play out? There's a message on screen right there. In fact, Dried Chicken, thank you. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well, because we're about to spin the wheel and find out how many likes we need to do our Be the Booker segment here for Backlash. Be the Booker Backlash edition. Let's find out. 515 is the goal for tonight, and we are at 417. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Oh, there's Armed Anderson. Now, I'm feeling pretty good about that. 515, we're not too far off. Only about 100 away. Soul also has a viral-worthy move. Yeah, unfortunately, there was no KAAAIIRRRIII tonight. This is the only place you're ever going to hear that now. You do realize that. We'll never hear it again on WWE television. But everything that I'm talking about tonight, you know where it happened? It happened at Backlash. I always love that Triple H video. Get a close-up of his face with that weird-ass beard of his. At Backlash. At Backlash. They tried to recreate it. They had some of the current stars doing it. I saw Danhausen doing it the other day. Why should she? She got released. Hey, I'm telling you, man, if WWE went to KAAAIIRRRIII and said, hey, we'd love to have you in because we really would love for you to make an appearance at Backlash. If I'm her, I mean, unless they're offering me a really good payday for it, I'm telling them to fuck. I'm not even answering the phone. I'm letting it go to voicemail. That's what I'm doing. So if she turned them down, good for her. All right, the first hour of this show aired live or simulcasted live on ESPN2. We had Seth Rollins against Braun Breaker, which would have at one point been the WrestleMania match. They wanted to keep Breaker out a little bit longer, though, and do the match on this show instead. I have to say this, outside of the Riyadh season logos that they had on the mat in each of the four corners, I was digging the cleaner look for tonight's show. And especially compared to WrestleMania, I mean, it was just total sensory overload. But if you'll notice, watching this show, outside of those four logos on the mat in the corner, you had the giant WWE logo in the center of the ring. You had WWE logos on all the turnbuckles, right? They didn't even have ads on the turnbuckles. They actually were able to hold back on all the advertising tonight on the ring and around the ring. It was kind of nice. Put more of the focus on what was going on inside the ring. So Breaker charged in for a spear right out of the gate. Rollins, though, leapfrogged him. There was a spot midway through this where Breaker went outside. He did the slow stalking charge towards Rollins like he was about to build up speed. He was going to go for a spear. But Rollins cut him off with a super kick. Then inside, Rollins had him set up for a stomp, but instead he ended up delivering a running knee strike to the face. The Breaker was kind of had his head tilted down. So what I'm thinking here is that he was supposed to go for a stomp, and they just fucked up the spot. And I don't know, Breaker was out of position or whatever it was, and so I don't think this went off quite the way that they had intended it to. So Rollins may have had to call an audible there. There were actually a few moments in this match like that that looked off or were a little rough. Like this spot. Rollins came off the ropes. He attempted to do, I'll call it, me personally, because he's the only guy who I really see doing this on a regular basis, and it's always very impressive when he does. I call it the Will Ospreay spot, where Rollins came off the ropes and Breaker had his arm out like in a clothesline position.
I have one pair of skinny jeans, and I'm going to wear them every week just to piss you off.
Listen to Big Dave. Big Dave, if he was to watch between the ending of SmackDown last night and what we had with Danhausen tonight, I can hear Batista's voice in my head from that promo he cut in the Hollywood Dave phase, where it's like, what has happened to this business? What has happened to this business that I love? I don't recognize it anymore. So Breaker had his arm out in position like he was going to go for a clothesline. And the idea was that Rollins was going to, as he was coming in, kind of flip over onto his feet, I'm guessing into a position to hit a pedigree, right? Maybe double underhook. And when we see Ospreay doing it, usually it's into like a tiger driver or a sit-out power bomb. It's a cool spot. Rollins tried to do it here, and he fucked it up. It didn't work. So he was trying to get that rotation, and he couldn't get it, and it was kind of in slow motion. He landed on his head. It sounds worse than it was. He didn't really get spiked on his head. There was a little bit of a delay. He kind of gently came down on his head. Then he immediately grabbed his head like he was selling, like he was hurt. I'm sure his ego was more hurt than anything else. I'm sure he's probably a perfectionist. And so instead, Breaker did a standing moonsault, and they just moved on because that's all you can do. You just move on in a situation like that. There was a spot where Rollins, he ran the corner to bring Breaker down from the top with a superplex. Now, usually Rollins will do that into a Falcon Arrow. In this case, it was Braun Breaker who hit the Falcon Arrow, and the fans popped big for that spot, and it looked cool. But I'm also watching this going, you pulled this man off the top rope for a superplex, which he proceeded to totally no-sell, which had no effect on him whatsoever. So he just popped right up into a Falcon Arrow. Like, okay. Now we're just no-selling superplexes. So it looks cool. I mean, it's not the first time I've seen that spot done in a Seth Rollins match, but I still think it's very dumb. So Breaker pulled Rollins down from the top a short time later with his Breakensteiner, he calls it. And then he went for another one in the opposite corner, but this time Rollins kind of, sort of, but not really, landed on his feet. He dropped Breaker with a pedigree, but again, not really. You know, he let go of the arms halfway through. So really, I mean, honestly, it's like he gave up on the move midway through, kind of the way Triple H was doing it in the last like 5 years of his career. And the guy just kind of falls down on his own, face first. I'm trying to think the last time I saw a real decent looking pedigree. I don't know. It's been a while. I don't think I've seen a good pedigree in years. I kind of wish people would stop doing the move altogether if you're not going to hit the pedigree the way that Triple H used to do it many years ago. You know, if people are afraid to take it or it's not safe, then just don't do the move. Am I the only one who thinks that move looks like shit these days? So down goes Breaker, face first. Rollins then hit the stomp. And at this point, Paul Heyman recognizes that we got a situation here. So he gets up on the apron. He starts shouting at Rollins, trying to get his attention. He's trying to, distract him. Rollins goes outside the ring because he could sense that something's about to go down. He goes outside the ring and he pulls a chair out from underneath. It's like he knew. And at that moment, Austin Theory shows up and Logan Paul shows up. And so Theory got hit with the chair, as did Logan Paul. Stomp to Theory on the floor. Now Logan he's on his butt. He's begging off. And Rollins chased him probably halfway down the aisle. Rollins realizes, okay, I got a match going on here. I got to get back to the ring. And so he sprints back down to the ring. And as soon as he gets into the ring, Breaker cuts him down with a short spear. He covers him. Seth kicks out, though, before 3. So Breaker hits the ropes a few times, back and forth. He comes off for a spear. But as he dove in, Rollins jumped up. And funny enough, to the point that I just made, he jumped up into the air just as Breaker dove in. And so he caught him effectively in a pedigree, which is very different than a traditional pedigree, right? So, I'll allow it. This looked cool. So down goes Breaker in this pedigree here. Rollins then headed up top. He came off the top rope for what? I don't know. I don't know what the idea was here. If he was going for a stomp, it sure didn't look like it. But he comes diving off the top rope. And out of midair, he gets speared by Breaker. And finally, Breaker hits the ropes a few times, crisscrosses back and forth, cuts Rollins down with one final spear, and pins him to notch what the announcer said was the biggest win of Braun Breaker's career. Which is probably true. He hasn't won any world championships yet on the main roster. I mean, he's wrestled some big names. He's been in the ring with CM Punk and people like that on occasion, but I don't believe he's beaten any of them. So, sure. This was the biggest win of his career to date. I thought it was a good match. It was not without a few bumps in the road along the way. The crowd was hot for it. I mean, as far as an opening match goes, the crowd was perfect. This is the kind of crowd you would want for your opener. And it was a long match, too. I mean, they got just over 20 minutes. This had to be the longest match on the entire show. I said earlier, like the Asuka IYO match got maybe 30 seconds more than Roman and Jacob did, and they both got between 18 and 19 minutes. So they gave these guys like 21 minutes in the opener. So they had plenty of time to do their thing. By the way, this was also longer than most of the matches on either night of WrestleMania this year. Now, I know it's a PLE. You would expect that there wouldn't be commercial interruptions during the matches, the way you see on SmackDown and Raw. But I'm so conditioned lately with this WWE product and just the way things are, that when it was over, I was like, oh, we had no interruptions during this match because it aired on ESPN. So you never know. I mean, I don't believe they interrupted anything on the ESPN hours for WrestleMania, but I was kind of waiting for it. Like the longer this match went, I'm like, oh, surely they're going to take a break in here somewhere. But they didn't. So, that was nice. And I mean, boy, the bar is very low with these WWE shows now when it comes to this, where it's like, I'm praising it for not having a commercial. I'm praising them for not having a commercial in the middle of a fucking PLE match. This is where we are now. Most importantly, it was the right outcome. Braun Breaker needed this win more than Seth Rollins. I understand Seth Rollins came back at WrestleMania and he lost to Gunther. Well, this was Braun Breaker's first match in a few months. And it's still, Rollins is a made guy in this company. Rollins loses nothing by losing this match, but I think you want to get Breaker reestablished in a major way. To do that, he has to win. So it's exactly what, I would have hoped they would do, would be to give him the win. I thought that was the right outcome. But they did it in a way where, the Vision tried to get involved and it kind of gives Rollins an out. But the interference, it wasn't overbearing or overwhelming in the way that it is with the Judgment Day, where it's just constant. You could have fucking Dom interfering 3 or 4 times in one match, and that's to say nothing of Liv or Raquel or Roxanne or JD or anybody else. So it was fine. It was fine. They didn't overdo it on the Vision stuff. Second match of the... There's Vince. Say hello, everybody. Just saw that super chat pop up. Very creepy. Second match of the ESPN hour had Trick Williams defending his United States Championship against Sami Zayn. I said my pieces on the gingerbread stuff last night. I thought it was ridiculous that this was the focal point of the entire 3-hour show. I thought it was just embarrassing. And the less said about it, the better. But it all led to this. It all led to where we are here tonight. And I came into this thinking, if you want to keep this going, because this thing feels like it still has some legs to it, they really should put the belt back on Sami. I wouldn't have taken the belt off him in the first place at WrestleMania. I would have kept it on him a little bit longer, had Trick, kind of scratch and claw a little bit more to really just put this guy in the dirt once and for all and then win the championship and then be done with Sami and move on. They had other ideas here on the show. Right now, it's just all about establishing the new faces. That's the most important and it is important. It is important here, but I just thought there was more runway for these two. And after what they did here tonight, there is no runway. That's it. It's over. If they try to continue this, I see no point in doing so. Zayn went to go use the steel steps early on, but Lil Yachty, who was out there with Trick, he got in the way. And that prevented him from doing so. We got a Blue Thunder Bomb in here from Sami for a near fall. Then he faked a knee injury after a springboard off the ropes. And when Trick came in after him, Sami, of course, playing possum, rolled him up for the near fall. Yachty climbed up on the apron to argue with the referee at one point. Sami grabs the kendo stick that Yachty had brought to the ring with him, the gingerbread kendo stick or candy cane kendo stick, whatever it was. So he grabs this thing and he hits Trick with it. And Sami covers him, only got a 2 count out of it. So Sami goes to the corner and he's gearing up for the haluva kick. Referee goes over to check on Trick Williams. And as this is going on, Yachty takes possession of the kendo stick and gets on the apron and kind of whacks Sami across the back with it. Trick then drops Sami with a spin kick. He covers him. Got a good near fall out of it. The two of them end up on the floor outside. And Sami drops... he goes over to where Yachty is. And he just fucking drops him with a punch. And he starts just working him over with the kendo stick. Trick goes over to Sami. And the steel steps were there. And the bottom half was exposed, the flat part of the steps. So Trick was setting up for a Uranagi on the steps. He was going to plant Sami onto them. And instead, Sami fought out of it, and he gave him a DDT onto the steps instead. So he puts Trick back in the ring, and he was about to follow him in, but he looks over and he sees Lil Yachty. And he's back up on his feet, and he's standing, I don't know, he's like interacting with people in the front row. I don't know what he's doing. He just got his ass kicked. He's already back up on his feet. So Sami sees this and he charges in and he delivers a haluva kick from behind. So a haluva kick to the back of Yachty's head. And the way he sold this was kind of comical. The way he kind of flopped onto the floor, right? But Sami wiped him out with his finish. So you would think that's the end of Yachty. Yachty should be carried out of here. Okay, this man just gave him a haluva kick. Sami goes back to the ring. He tried for the kick on Trick. Trick avoided it. ran the ropes, dropped him with the trick shot knee, and pinned him. That's it. 1, 2, 3. He pinned Sami Zayn to retain the United States Championship. And when the match was over, Lil Yachty gets back in the ring to celebrate with Trick Williams, thereby no-selling Sami's finish that he was just dropped with about 45 seconds prior. So he gets in the ring and he starts making it rain. He's making it rain. Right? You see the dollar bills are flying and Trick is posing on the ropes with the belt and Yachty's just going like, and I'm like, okay, that's a cool visual, right? But they zoom in. It's all $1 bills. I'm looking at this going, man, maybe there's some 20s and 50s in there, maybe some hundreds. Nope. Yeah, it's funny. Back in the day, when the $1 Million Man would come out, he'd have hundreds, right? He would call fans out, look, if you could bounce this basketball 10 times, I'll give you $500, right? And he's flashing the money and everything. Remember fucking Tiger Ali Singh and Babu, I think, was his assistant, and they had fans coming into the ring, and if you lick Babu's toe jam on his feet, we'll give you fucking $500. Yeah, this is the kind of sick shit they were doing back then. But see, this is the TKO era now. So they went to Yachty and go, look, all we have for you, we have $1 bills. We're not giving out hundreds here. That's not how it works here in the TKO era. Back then, man, he'd have all those C notes in his hand. Yeah, RVD legitimately, he kissed DiBiase's foot. He was a fan that got called out of the crowd at a live event, and he got down on his hands and knees and he kissed the feet because he wanted the money. You had $2 bill. I have a $2 bill. It's official legal tender. I still have a $2 bill somewhere. Don't remember where I got it from, but I still have it. I don't know if you can find those anymore. I thought the match itself, it was a solid enough match. A little bit better, actually, than their WrestleMania match. A little bit longer, too. I think this was about 4 or 5 minutes longer, maybe, than their WrestleMania match. I enjoyed this more than I did that one. Lil Yachty, though, he was involved enough in this match to where, you know, he was getting more of the spotlight than either of the two men in the ring. They may as well have made this a triple threat match. That's how much he was involved. I'm not really sure what the point of all the gingerbread stuff was. I got to be honest with you. The way the gingerbread garbage ended last night, I thought for sure, okay, maybe they really are going to put this belt back on Sami here and keep this going a little bit because it's been all Trick so far. So if you wanted to continue it, you had to give Sami something, but clearly they have no intent of continuing this. And if the idea is that they're not done yet and they're going to get another match out of it, I have no fucking idea what the point of this was. This felt to me like we're blowing this shit off and we're moving on. And hey, okay, great. You want to move on? Maybe we get Trick and Carmelo Hayes. Last time we saw Carmelo Hayes, he was literally in the trainer's room talking to Trick Williams saying, I'm coming after you next and I'm coming after that belt. So maybe that's what we'll get next. Maybe we'll get Trick and Melo. I still feel like, I still felt like there was more to do with these two, but I don't see how you continue it after this. This felt like the period at the end of the sentence to me. He's been beaten twice. The goal here seems to have been we have to just make clear to the fans that what happened at WrestleMania was not a fluke. Trick is the real deal. And he just beat this man twice. Back to back, 3 weeks. Okay, cool. I don't know what that means for Sami. I have no idea where Sami Zayn goes now. But as far as Trick, he's going to move on now. Whether it's Carmelo Hayes or somebody else, it looks like he's moving on to the next. So at that point, they signed off of ESPN 2. Will Money in the Bank happen this year? Tomas, you got to pay attention, brother. Money in the Bank is on September 6th. Labor Day weekend. End of the summer. It's going to be the latest Money in the Bank has ever been held. So the ESPN 2 portion of things was over. And I was watching this on Netflix. So before we got to the next match, we had more clips of the Hulk Hogan documentary. Got a little bit of that. And then we got a 3-minute or maybe 3.5-minute, we'll be right back countdown screen. Heading into the remaining 3 matches on this show. We only have 3 matches left. This felt like an in your house is what this felt like. Up next was Danhausen and his mystery partner against The Miz and Kit Wilson. This got a long video package. Now, remember what I talked about during WrestleMania? I said the only matches that got any video packages here were the 2 main events. We had all this dead time on these shows, and I'm like, nothing else got a video package. But of course, it's not dead time to TKO. That's commercial airtime, and that's much more important to them. So it's funny to me that like they kicked off the ESPN app portion of the show, and we got this like extended video package. It's so important to recap the events that have led us to Danhausen against The Miz and Kit Wilson. This is what they gave. Come to think of it, I don't think any of the other matches on this show got a video. Oh, actually, the main event did. But I was floored by this. I was like, they're going chapter and verse through every single aspect of this feud. Like, we need to make sure that all of you watching this know everything that's happened up until this point. And so, Miz and Kit Wilson were out first. Then the video. And then it was time for Danhausen to come out. And he came out in his Danhausen mobile, whatever the fuck they're called. What does it have a name? I don't even know. We'll call it the Danhausen mobile. He drives out, and he gets out of the car, and on stage is the giant box. We saw it on SmackDown last night. It's the machine that he was going to use to clone himself. Because in the backstage segment on SmackDown, Kit Wilson said that nobody wants to team with you. And he held his mirror up and he said, this is the only person that would ever team with you. And it gave Danhausen this idea like, oh, he's going to clone himself, right? So he pries the door open, and we're going to find out who his tag team partner is. And out pops a Mexican Mini, who was actually played by Mascarita Sagrada. If you don't know who Mascarita Sagrada is, maybe you'll remember El Torito from WWE many years ago with him and the Matadors. Part of one of the greatest segments in the last 20 years of Monday Night Raw, when Bo Dallas was doing his run. Remember, he had his arms up in the air and he's doing his run around the ring and didn't realize that El Torito was outside, and El Torito didn't see him coming because his back was turned, that he got bumped by Bo's ample posterior, and he got bumped to the side. I laughed way harder at that than I should have. That's like my one lone actually, that's not true. That's not true. That's one of my 2 memories of El Torito from back in the day. The other one had to be WLC, right? Because it was, I'm pretty sure it was him against Hornswoggle and WLC. Yes. Okay. So anyway, he was the one. He's like 40. He's like 44 now. It's crazy. Anyway, he was the Mexican Mini. He was Minihausen because he was out there and he had the makeup and everything done just like Danhausen. So they both got in the Danhausen mobile and they rode around ringside. Miz, of course, is laughing at this. Kit Wilson is laughing at this. I'm just looking at this, trying to figure out, like, again, what am I doing with my life now? 2 days in a row, we go from the funeral of the gingerbread man to Minihausen. It hasn't even been 24 hours yet. It's like I'm living in a fever dream. Now, you could hear boos from the crowd. It wasn't like overwhelming, like boos raining down upon these men, but there were boos there once the music stopped and the match was about to begin, because of course you have people in the crowd who were like, you were building up the mystery of this for the last couple of weeks, and it's a PLE. And so, of course, their minds are going to start racing as to like, okay, well, who could this be? Is it going to be somebody new that's debuting? Is it going to be a big name? Is it going to be... Again, I thought the one that would have made sense was Royce Keys, because he's new to SmackDown. And again, he's an ass kicker. He can go out there and, for one night, right, beat the fuck out of The Miz and Kit Wilson. Gets him a spot on the show. Why not? Jelly Roll was the one who I thought it would end up being because of all the reasons I mentioned earlier. I, for one, am happy that it wasn't Jelly Roll. And I don't have anything against Jelly Roll. You know, his involvement largely in these shows hasn't really been terrible. It hasn't been too terrible. So I don't have anything against him being involved at different points in time. But the idea of him coming out and being the mystery partner was fucking dumb. I didn't want to see Jelly Roll in this. I don't know who I wanted to see in this. I really didn't want to see this at all. If it were up to me, it wouldn't have been on the fucking show. But for the people who thought it was going to be CM Punk or it was going to be some kind of big name, I don't know why. Why would you allow yourself to believe that it was going to be a big name like that? It was never going to be. And it's WWE, so you should know by now. You have to temper your expectations. It's like the John Cena announcement. You have to temper your expectations because they will always let you down. So honestly, this was pretty much in line with what I would have expected from WWE. So the match begins, and Wilson, he kicks Danhausen down, as Wade Barrett on commentary is wondering, is that a thing or is that a child? And Michael Cole said, well, it's not a child. And he goes, well, it better not be, because if it is, this company's going to be in a hell of a lot of trouble. I hate to break it to Wade. It's a good thing that Barrett wasn't around back in the 80s. Or else, that's a whole other can of worms right there. In fact, there's an ongoing lawsuit as we speak about some problems this company ran into with kids back in the 80s, but we'll leave that alone for now. So Danhausen ended up at a tree of woe, and he sat up to avoid a running charge. Danhausen was in, and he cleaned house here for a little bit. Danhausen tagged himself back in. He knocked the Miz off one of the corners. And there was a top rope Hurricane Rana that sent Kit Wilson outside. There was a suicide dive. So Danhausen is chasing Kit Wilson up the aisleway, and he ends up being sent into the cloning box. And Kit slams the door shut, and he's like, finally, I'm rid of this little fool. And he turns around, and he's got this feeling of relief on his face, but you can see that there's stuff going on there with the machine. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm expecting someone of normal average height to now emerge from the box. And now I'm thinking, okay, maybe now it's going to be somebody from SmackDown. Who's it going to be? Right? My mind is wondering who's going to pop out of the box. Silly me. It's a cloning machine. So we have more Danhausens that come out of the machine. Now there's a whole army of them. There's like a whole fleet of them. They multiplied. That's what happened here. They're like gremlins. So they come out of the machine. The machine, I'm talking about it like it's a real fucking thing. They come out of the box. And in the ring, so now they are attacking Kit Wilson. In the ring. Oh, I should also point out that on commentary, Michael Cole was like, it works. The box works. Thank you, Michael. So in the ring, the OG Mini, he got Kit Wilson up in position for an airplane spin. He gave this man an airplane spin into the old Wade Barrett wasteland move. And Barrett absolutely lost his shit over this. He couldn't believe that this little shit stole his move. He was flipping his wig on commentary. He called him a dirty little goblin. So Danhausen was about to curse Kit Wilson, who instead held up a mirror. So it would be as if he was cursing himself. So he was able to stop the curse. I can't believe I'm talking about that. But he's holding up the mirror to prevent the curse from occurring. And honestly, the best part of this entire thing, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it made the whole thing worth it, because it didn't. But the best part of this entire thing was Miz sneaking up from behind Danhausen and lifting him up high into the air and dropping him with the skull-crushing finale. That I enjoyed. And he covered him. Danhausen almost was too late on the save, but he did manage to break up the pin attempt. So then Danhausen ends up tagging into the match. officially. He gave Miz a Thez press. I hesitate to even call it that. It got fucked up. I don't know what happened here. Miz was too close to him. He just sort of, I don't even know. Like, I'm sure it's, first of all, number one, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I would bet, I was going to say I would bet my left nut. I would put both nuts on the line that Stone Cold Steve Austin was not watching this. I would bet both nuts that Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't even watch the product anymore, because why the fuck would he? There's not a chance in hell he watches this product week to week. But if he was by chance watching this show tonight and he saw this attempted Thez press that Danhausen gave to the Miz, he needed to bust out a couple of IPAs and down them on the spot, because this was hard to watch. It's very hard to watch. But he tackles Miz. Miz, though, ended up outside the ring. And he reaches underneath the ring, and all the mini Hausens are out there, and they're standing on the announce desk and everything. And Miz pulls out a fire extinguisher. And he looks at them and he goes, "You are cursed." And he goes to spray them, but nothing's happening because the Miz has been cursed. So what happens? The Miz holds the nozzle up to his face, and then magically, the white shit comes out all over his face. Oh, what have I done with my life? Why am I saying the things that I'm saying? Why? What have I done to deserve this? You know what I mean, the white shit that comes out of the fire extinguisher. It's all it's all over the Miz's face now. He sprays him. He sprays himself. I don't. Leave me alone. Pour some more of this drink here. That's what I'm gonna do. We don't need to be talking about Miz like that. Anyway, so he's been sprayed. He's been sprayed, and the Miz ends up back in the ring, and Minihausen, he wipes out Kit Wilson with a crossbody dive. Danhausen hits Miz with a pump kick. Apparently, this is Danhausen's finishing move. It's like his own brogue kick. And he covers Miz, and he wins the match. Michael Cole said that I just got a text from a friend saying, "This is wrestling. This is wrestling," he says. Yeah. Wade Barrett disagreed. He sounded disgusted with all this, and he asked, "What has happened to the business that I love?" To which I say this to Wade Barrett: that business is dead. It doesn't exist anymore. I've asked myself the same question watching many of these shows over these past few months. That version of WWE, that version of the business, it's over. It doesn't exist anymore. It's dead, especially now in the TKO era. This is a new era. This is a new business. I'm not sure what, frankly, this is supposed to be, but I'm sure it's sponsored by something or other. Now, you may be shocked to hear this, despite whatever Miz was doing with that fire extinguisher. I didn't hate this. I actually got a kick out of different parts of this here. My issue with it was that it was one of only 5 matches on this show. This is supposed to be a premium live event, right? Whatever that even means these days. What really is premium? Not a lot of the stuff that we've been getting on these premium live events. We only had 5 matches on this show. Do you know how many people did not have a spot on this show? Do you know how many championships were left out and not defended on this show? And in place of all of the other things that could have been put on this show, we ended up with this. That's my issue with it. Save this shit for TV. When real estate is so precious on a show like this, and I get they like Danhausen and he's over. I get it. But a match like this does not belong on this show. And if you want to do this match on the show, then you got to add a couple more matches. That's all. But they're not going to do that because they need to get their ads in. They need to get their plugs. That's why. And we had the John Cena announcement, right? He was going to announce his little special event. But if you're going to do shit like this, To me, it would be a lot more tolerable if we had 6 or 7 matches on the card, not 5. To me, that's ridiculous. And again, it didn't help that it was coming the night after the gingerbread stuff. You go from one goofy thing to the next. Now, the crowd loved it. Again, I didn't hate it. The crowd at first, they won the crowd over because, again, there were noticeable boos. By the time this was over, they had won a lot of the fans over. I think the fans, by and large, they liked Danhausen. But it wouldn't be so glaring to me if the rest of the product was firing on all cylinders and if they were delivering and everything else that they're doing, and they're not. It's just the opposite. They're not delivering. And so then we see something like this, and it's like, what are we doing here? But for what they tried to make this, it worked. I thought the comedy worked. It was amusing. Masquerita Sagrada is actually very talented. He won a lot of the fans over with some of his moves tonight. So I was sports entertained by it, but man, there was a better time and place for this. This really wasn't it. Now, Michael Cole at this point pitched it to a special announcement, which was not John Cena's announcement. This was a commercial. It was an ad to announce the first ever in history 2-night Triple Mania coming in September. So Triple Mania 34 Night 1 is going to be on Friday night, September 11th. Triple Mania Night 2 is going to be on Sunday, September 13th. So they're not even doing it back-to-back nights. First 2-night Triple Mania, that's not even consecutive nights, which is certainly different. Only a matter of time before we get that 2-night Royal Rumble. I think I first said that. I'm sure everybody pretty much figures it's coming by now, but I remember first mentioning that like a year and a half ago. I said it's only a matter of time. They had already announced the Saudi one, so I knew it wasn't happening this year, but I still feel like 2027 could be the first 2-night Royal Rumble. If it's not 2027, then 2028 for sure. IYO SKY, one-on-one against Asuka. Immediately at the beginning of this match, we have chants of, "We want Kairi." And then they kind of petered out. And then I would say maybe not even a minute later, they roared back and they were even louder this time. And so at different points during the first half, I would say of this match, we had chants of "We want Kairi." So her presence or lack thereof was definitely felt by a good chunk of people in the crowd. Asuka tried for an armbar early on. IYO slipped out. She applied her own version of the Asuka lock until Asuka got a rope break. So Asuka went to the top. IYO, though, pulled her down with a Hurricane Rana. And Asuka rolled through into a cradle for a near fall. IYO drop kicked her out to the floor. Asuka, though, blocked a dive attempt and then placed IYO on top of the announce desk. And so now they're both standing on top of the desk. And Asuka spits the blue mist at IYO. But see, IYO, she had a plan. She picked up Wade Barrett's pad. It looked like a laptop, but he said it was his notepad. No notes on it, but it was his pad. And she held it up like a shield. And she shielded herself from the mist. So, if only Thomas Jane had been able to do that in the movie. Just hold up a pad just to shield himself from the mist. We could have avoided the most depressing ending in movie history. But you see the blue goo is like dripping down the pad. IYO trips up Asuka, so she ends up falling face first on top of the desk. And then she dove off the desk with a crossbody onto Asuka. Then there was the Asai moonsault, the springboard moonsault from the ring to the floor by IYO, and she got none of it. She completely missed Asuka on the landing. I'm just happy that when she landed, she didn't go right back and smack her head on the fucking desk like JD McDonough did that time. I don't understand why anybody does an Asai moonsault on that side of the ring. Especially after what happened to McDonough. Why in God's name would you do it on that side of the ring? Not only was there an announce desk there, but there's a barricade, there's any number of things that are there. And it's just so dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous enough to do that move on any side of the ring, but why you would do it over there when there's a fucking desk there? And they've reinforced these desks now. They barely break. Can we not do it on that side of the ring, please? Back inside, Asuka avoided a moonsault, locked in an armbar. Io countered, but Asuka caught her in the Asuka lock. Io looked like she was going nighty-night. For a second there, I bought on this. I thought she was going out. But all of a sudden, she got a burst of energy. She was able to roll out of it. Yeah, he got a collapsed lung from that. It was brutal. It was brutal when he landed. He kind of rolled backwards and he smacked the back of his head on that desk. It was nasty. It was very, very... And he finished the match, by the way. Didn't realize he had a collapsed lung. He still finished the match. I think he even did a moonsault onto Ivar or whoever it was. Asuka blocked a kick into a German. Io came back with a German suplex of her own. Then the running Meteora in the corner. And then finally, the over the moonsault. Lands on Asuka. Io gets the pin. And she picks up the victory. And when the match was over, Io was paying respect to her senpai. She bowed to Asuka. Asuka looked very emotional. Didn't know what she was going to do, if she was going to spit more mist at her or attack her or just walk away. Instead, she hugged her. She embraced her. Io earned her respect. Now, if you remember in the video package leading into this match that we saw on Monday, or I guess Monday would have been the sit down, but there, at some point in the build up to this, Asuka mentioned that she, being Io, was her greatest disappointment. So we went from Asuka believing that Io was her biggest disappointment to her embracing her and forgiving her and saying, you know what? I was wrong. You've earned my respect. So it was all lovey-dovey, all nothing but positive vibes here between these two, and the match was over. But what was weird about this is they both kind of looked emotional, more so Asuka. And Io raises, Asuka's arm, and they hugged again, and Asuka blew a kiss to her and waving to the crowd. Just, I don't know, the way this came off to me felt like Asuka is either done or may very well be done soon. Now, I know Asuka has been there for a very long time. Asuka has been in this company now for a decade. Actually, maybe longer, maybe about 11 years. I don't know how old she is offhand. I know she's like mid-40s. I don't know what her plans are as far as how long she plans on working. She may want to wrestle for another 5 years. I don't know. But just the way this came off to me, it actually felt like she could be on her way out. And I just hope that's not the case. Asuka's fantastic. I know we're very far removed from NXT Asuka, that run that she was on back then, but I still think she has a lot to contribute. And I think if she were to leave or if they were to let her go, that would be a loss. I know she hasn't been the focal point of the women's division for a very long time. I mean, things would roll on without her, but it would be a loss. To lose her and Kairi would be a big loss to that roster. So I hope that isn't the case. She's 44 going on 45 this year. Yeah. That's about the average age, I think, of your WWE main eventer. She could still go another 5 or 6 years. But yeah, I don't know what her plans are. But that was the vibe that I got when this match was over. This was a one and done. This clearly they're not running this back again. And really, what's the point? There's no sense in doing so. Everything was built around the Kairi stuff. And once Kairi went away, to be honest with you, I wasn't even sure we were going to get this match. So now we got it. It was very good. It was the match of the night. The best match on the entire show, to me. And it's over. And I don't know where Asuka goes from here. Maybe she goes home. But I did feel coming into this that Io, more so than Asuka, needed this win. After this, they showed Dan Spivey in the crowd. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting that. I think Dan Spivey actually has a new book out. Somebody go look up the title of it. I'll give it a plug. But I'm pretty sure he has a new book that's out. Waylon Mercy in the house. Know what I mean? Lives are gonna be in Waylon Mercy's hands. So he was there, and also Steve Kern was shown with a woman who I assume was his wife. And if he is married and that wasn't his wife, then oops. But I'm sure it was. So he was there as well in the crowd. And again, in the Tampa area, I mean, Steve Keirn used to run Florida Championship Wrestling, which was their developmental territory, which bled right into the creation of NXT. So that was his tie. Of course, also, he was Skinner. We can't forget the Alligator Man from the Everglades. So after this, it was time for John Cena in his spiffy pinstripe suit, looking like a young Vince McMahon. His three-piece pinstripe suit, making his way down to the ring for this epic, history-making announcement that he has been promising all week long. And he says he's been wondering, what will the next phase of my WWE career be? Ever since I retired, I've been asking myself that question. So the crowd began to chant one more match at him. He says he thinks a lot about that last match that he had with Gunther, and the crowd booed. This is what I loved. As soon as he mentioned the last match he had, the fans began to boo. Because as I told all of you that night, and I will continue to argue it until my dying breath, I'm glad John Cena is at peace with it. It was probably his idea. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's his retirement. And if he's happy with it, then cool. But that finish sucked on Saturday night's main event. And I had to listen to so many people. Oh, it was such a wonderful moment. A beautiful moment. What a beautiful moment. It sucked. And so the crowd boos. And he kind of laughed at it. And he goes, he's here. He hears us. He hears the fans. He knows some people were upset. But he was happy because what was most important to him that night is that they made it something bigger. They made it an evening of opportunity. He says that he asked for them to give chances to NXT stars to show what they can do. And on that night, for the first time, we saw Sol Ruka, and we saw Javon Evans, and we saw Oba Femi. Oba Femi debuts in December, and 4 months later, he's strutting and he's kicking Brock Lesnar's ass at WrestleMania. So then it hit him. He's like, damn, we got to do this again. So here we are. He is honored tonight to announce the John Cena Classic, an entire evening of the best of today against the best of tomorrow. An entire event where WWE stars and NXT stars give us all they have in the hopes of being crowned a champion. They have a brand new event and a brand new championship in WWE. Just what we fucking need. More championships in WWE. And not just any championship, he says. This is an event and a title that he is personally putting his name on. So he is going to strive for a certain level of excellence, and he's going to do everything he can to make it special. So on top of all of that, for the first time in history, the fans' voices will be heard louder than ever because we, the audience, will vote to crown the champion of the John Cena Classic. Yes, this has never been done before in the history of WWE. Forget everything you remember about the fan voting on all those pay-per-views back in the 2000s. It never, ever happened. Nothing like this has ever taken place in the history of WWE. He says every participant qualifies, which also means for the first time in history, a superstar might not win their match, but their hustle could win them the fans' vote, and the fans can still crown that person the John Cena Classic champion. So basically what he's saying is, no matter what the matches are that night, whether you win, whether you lose, you could be the biggest fucking loser on the show. If you get over with the audience, if you can buy enough votes, if you could stuff the ballot box, you could become the John Cena Classic champion. I have a feeling we're going to need a recount here. I don't trust this voting. You're going to put the decision in the hands of the fans? Do you see some of these people on social media? These are the people that you're going to put the power in their hands? Really? This sounds like a terrible idea. But he says it's a single event that embodies everything he stands for. But he doesn't want to do just one. He wants to do this next year and the year after that and the year after that. He wants this to be a thing that's going to be for years to come. So he thanked WWE for taking a chance on the idea. He hopes it works. And he thanked the fans for everything. He will see us at the John Cena Classic. Was that like the Arnold Classic? And now it's time for our main event. Now, before we get to the main event, that was the end of John Cena for the night. As I said at the beginning of the review, was it some epic, historic announcement? Not really. I mean, there are obviously elements to this that would be considered historic that they haven't really done before. In terms of having this one night where even if you lose your match, you could still win. The fans can vote you in. It's like a fucking reality show. That's basically what it is. And again, I get the impression just based on the way he's been talking about this and the way he was talking about it tonight, that this legitimately is a John Cena idea. And he went to them and said, look, this is what I would like to do. This is how it would work. I really want to try to make this a reality. And so they're indulging him and they're saying, okay, we'll work with you on this. Because of course they want John Cena to be excited and they want him to be involved, and you're going to have this event and John Cena, I'm sure John Cena will be there. He might even be the host of the event. And so now you can promote another event with John Cena. He may end up having as many appearances this year as he did last year, the way things are going. So look, I think it's very admirable that he wants to help put that spotlight back on some of those people in NXT, people that I'm sure he's met being down at the Performance Center. Again, he's a big mark for Will Cruz, right? Mason Rook, I'm sure he'll be a big part of that event. I'm sure John Cena's got his eye on that guy. I enjoyed the matches they did on Saturday night's main event. I like the idea of having WWE talent against NXT talent. Not all the time, but as like a once-a-year thing, I think that could work. I just think the format, the stakes, the fan voting aspect of it, a lot of it has to be fleshed out. I still feel like there's a lot we don't know. We don't know who's going to be a part of it. We don't know when the event is going to be. We don't know, is it going to be a PLE? Is it going to be a Peacock-only event like Saturday night's main event? I get the sense it'll be a PLE, on the ESPN app and all that, but we don't know. I don't believe they have any PLE scheduled for July, unless they do another Evolution show. And there's been no mention of them doing another women's Evolution show this year. I don't know if they would have a Saturday night's main event in July. They might. I believe they had one last May, and then they definitely had one in July because that was Goldberg's last match. So maybe it's a Saturday night's main event. I don't know. So all that to say, we don't have all the details fleshed out just yet. As far as this idea of them doing a whole series of matches where it doesn't really matter who wins and loses, this John Cena Classic champion is going to ultimately be decided on by the fans. It's going to end up being a popularity contest. And maybe that's exactly the way the company wants it. This is a way for the company to say, okay, we're going to fast track whoever the fans tell us they really like and want to see. Use this as an opportunity to identify that person and maybe fast track them to the main roster. Like at the end of all of this, does the John Cena Classic champion get an automatic call up to the main roster? Is it just some special belt that they get and they go right back to NXT? Again, we don't know. We don't know what the stakes and the end result are going to be here. I don't like the idea of having a series of matches like this that just don't mean anything outside of, yes, it's a showcase for people to show what they can do and wow the audience and try to get over that way. But I just feel like it kind of just defeats the purpose if people are just going to vote on whoever they like. It sounds dumb. So we have to wait and see what all of the details are. I don't hate the concept, though. And look, if you don't like it, if you're not a fan of it, that's fine. It's a one-night thing. I mean, this could have been any number of things. This could have been some new thing they're going to do weekly on the shows. It could have been, it could have been anything. There's a lot more offensive things that this could have ended up being. To me, again, I think it's nice what he's trying to do here. I just don't know if it's actually going to work. And frankly, I don't think he knows if it's going to work. That's why he literally said during his promo, I don't know if this is going to work. We'll all find out together. Just got to flesh out those details a little bit more. But it was already main event time on this show because we had Roman Reigns defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Jacob Fatu. Now, in running down Fatu's career during the ring intros, actually Roman was already making his intro, and Michael Cole was talking about Jacob Fatu. And in the course of doing so, Michael Cole gave House of Glory a shout out on Backlash. My ears perked up as soon as I heard House of Glory mentioned here on this show. He said that for years, Fatu toiled in promotions like West Coast Pro, House of Glory, and Game Changer Wrestling. Jacob Fatu was our World Heavyweight Champion for over 200 days. And had some really good matches during that run. So that was a very cool thing to hear on the show tonight. Crowd was hot for this one, really from the opening bell. Fatu sent Roman to the floor during the first couple of minutes. He went for a suicide dive. Roman avoided it. Fatu, though, applied the Tongan death grip. They've really been trying to get this holdover as this lethal maneuver. So he goes to put on the Tongan death grip, gets it applied. He backs Roman into the ring post, and then inexplicably, he releases the hold. Not quite sure why he would do that. Back in the ring, Fatu went for a splash in the corner that Roman avoided. Reigns dropped him with a big boot. He blasted him with a Superman punch. He went for a cover, and immediately Fatu kicked out. He no-sold the Superman punch, and he got right back to his feet. Only family could get away with that. Ain't nobody else going to get away with no-selling the Superman punch like that. Jacob Fatu, though, it's okay. And Reigns had this look of shock on his face. Oh, yeah, no mention of MLW. Gee, I wonder why. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the $20 million settlement that MLW won from WWE. Because Jacob, I mean, honestly, even more than HOG, out of all the promotions, I mean, he had the biggest run in MLW. He was the champion there, right? He had the Contra unit faction. Jacob Fatu was like on some king shit over there in MLW, and they didn't get any love from WWE tonight, but HOG did. Hey, you know, anytime you want to let Jacob come make a homecoming, we'd love to have that conversation. I'll send Charles Mason to you. You can have him. Give us Fatu. I may have finally found a reason to unload Mason onto somebody else. I can finally get rid of this guy and get him out of my hair. Hey, Boots, thank you for the 10 spot. Here to answer the Double Be the Booker Open Challenge. Well, we still have a ways to go. We're 4 out of 15 on the bonus goal. But thank you, Boots. Boots is doing his part. So Fatu dropped Roman with a big boot. He connected on a running hip attack in the corner. And Fatu hits the ropes. He got cut off, though, with another Superman punch, and this time he actually sold it. And 2 count only, though. Fatu rolled to the floor. Roman followed, caught him with a drive-by. Fatu, though, got the Tongan death grip reapplied. And then he released it again, and he powerbombed Roman through the announce desk. And we had a little bit of a delayed breakage there, but the desk did finally break. But he had to get Roman back in the ring quickly because you can't win the title outside the ring and you don't want to get counted out. So he rushed Roman back inside and he got into the ring as well. And he charged at Roman, but he got cut down by a spear. And we got a great near fall for Roman. Moments later, Reigns set up for another spear. Jacob, though, popped him up into the air. He caught him coming down with a Samoan drop. Followed that with the mighty moonsault. To which Michael Cole said, we're going to have a new champ. I forgot if it was we've got a new champion or we're going to have a new champion. I'm like, thank you, Michael. So now I know we don't have a new champion. And sure enough, he kicked out. It would have been nice if it wasn't telegraphed, but they always have the announcers do this. And I don't understand why. I don't know why. Why do they do this? If you hear the announcer say we're going to have a new champion, guaranteed you're not going to have a new champion. So he kicked out. Both men traded punches from their knees, and as they got back to their feet, Fatu caught him with a pair of hip attacks in the corner, and then he signaled yet again for the Tongan death grip. He got it applied. Roman started to fade, but he sprang back to life. He hulked up, and he got out of it. Fatu, though, popped him up again, but this time Roman connected with a Superman punch on the way down. Then came the spear. He covered Fatu, again, only for a near fall. And this one, honestly, this one should have been 3. This is one of those spots where like the ref kind of had to hold up a little bit. Really should have been a 3 count, but whatever. So Fatu again with the Tongan death grip, and Roman held on to the top turnbuckle. And in the struggle here, the pad came flying off. Fatu still had the hold applied. Roman, though, shoved him headfirst into the exposed buckle, followed with one final spear to win the match and retain the championship. And that was it. I mentioned earlier, Asuka and IYO actually got slightly more time than these two did, which is just incredible to think about, considering they weren't even on the WrestleMania card. But in the end, they both got about the time that they needed. They got more than enough time in both cases to tell the story that they were out there to tell. Fatu was not happy about the loss. He did not take it very well. He put Roman back in the Tongan death grip. This had to be like the 5th fucking time. He puts him in this Tongan death grip. And the referee is trying to get Fatu to release the hold. And he shoves the referee. He reapplies the hold. Referee intervened again. Fatu finally puts him down with a pop-up Samoan drop. Nobody can stop this man. Adam Pearce is out there with a bunch of producers. I think I saw Shane Helms and Ken Doane maybe. I don't know. There were Pat Buck. There were a bunch of people out there. And they're all trying to get Fatu off of this man. And Fatu, he tosses Adam Pearce through the ropes out to the floor, reapplies the Tongan death grip again. Pearce gets back in the ring and he joins with the others in trying to pull this man off. And Fatu finally releases the hold. He looks into the camera and he says, I told him. I told him. 3 times he said this. So Fatu leaves the ring and Roman, they show Roman on the mat and Roman is spitting up all over himself. Remember the way that people used to sell the mandible claw when Mankind first debuted in 96? I'll never forget the first night after WrestleMania. He wrestled Bob Holly. Good old spark plug, Bob Holly. And he put the mandible claw on for the first time. And I just remember like he's like frothing at the mouth. He's spitting up all over. It's fucking disgusting. He's spitting up all over himself. I want to say that lasted a few weeks and then they stopped doing that because it was just too disgusting. So Roman is just spitting up all over the place, trying to sell this hold. Fatu, though, gets back in the ring. And yet again, he reapplies the Tongan death grip. And this time, Adam Pearce is grabbing at his braids. He's trying to pull him off. Finally, he lets go of the hold. He picks up the World Heavyweight title, holds it up above his head, and he gets booed as the show goes off the air. This certainly felt like a full-blown heel turn here, even though, again, Roman Reigns is a heel. I know people cheer him like he's the biggest babyface in the company. He's a fucking heel. But Jacob's going to end up being the heel in this scenario because that's just the way it is. I like it. I like what they did here for the finish. I was wondering, how are they going to do this? There was no chance Roman was losing this. So how do you do this finish without having interference and a bunch of bullshit at the end? They found a way to do it. You know, he won, Roman did, clean. But then you just have Fatu go off the deep end. He finally snaps. This is what pushes him over the edge. He looked like a killer out there. He kept reapplying this devastating hold, and the people were trying to stop him, and he's popping them up into the air, and he's throwing them out of the ring, and he's knocking them on their ass. Nobody could control this man, right? He was just the most dangerous man in WWE, he looked like. And that was the point, to establish him in that role coming out of this match. Even though Roman won and is still the champion, they now set things up for a rematch. I know it looks like, okay, Roman's going to go away for a while. He may go away for a few weeks. I don't know that we're going to see him on TV for a while. But last I heard, he is scheduled to be on the Clash in Italy card. And we'll probably, my guess is, get the rematch on that show. Probably get Fatu and Roman for the world title and Cody against Gunther for the WWE Championship, both on that show. So we're not done with Roman until, deep into the summer or anything like that. He is going to be back in a few weeks. I will say this. If he is going to be gone for an extended period of time coming out of Clash in Italy, if I knew like this guy's not going to be around for like 2 months, I would say, fuck it. Just take the belt off him. Just take the belt off him. We don't need that. We don't need the championship on someone if they're not going to be there for an extended period of time. I believe the idea is that he will be in Italy, and then we won't see him again for a month. I don't believe he is scheduled for another show after that until June 29th, which I want to say is Philly. I know that's Monday Night Raw. So we're facing the possibility that Roman could beat him again and then vanish for a month. And even that, like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I almost hope they do put the belt on Jacob, but I'm not convinced they're going to do that. Because I think they're going to want Roman in that world championship match at SummerSlam. And look, if Roman and Oba is the goal here, then stay the course. Because I think that should be the ultimate goal at SummerSlam. But man, when the champ is not around, it just makes things that much more boring. And so I can only hope that if he's not going to be around for a while, a month or whatever it is, that they have someone who can kind of step in there and take his place and just keep things interesting on TV, because we have hours and hours of television, every week. And when your big guns are not there, when your champion is not there, it just makes things harder because you got to work around it. And I get that, like, that's what the Usos are for, right? But you can only do that for so long. So Clash in Italy feels to me like that's where we will get the rematch here. Where the Usos are going to stand in all this, we'll have to wait until Raw Monday night and find out. They were not present at all on this show. Doesn't feel like Jacob is getting that belt anytime soon, but it does feel like he will get it at some point. Jacob is a future world champion. Not a doubt in my mind. Jacob, Braun Breaker, Obafemi, like these are going to be those guys that are going to be in that mix in this company for many years to come. And so at some point it will happen. I don't get the feeling it's happening anytime soon. I don't get the feeling perhaps it's even happening this year. But I think at some point it will. But I'm watching him standing there holding that belt up above his head at the end. I'm like, okay, bookmark this. We'll come back to this at some point. This will become a reality at some point. It just doesn't feel like, this summer is going to be the time for that. So on the whole, I thought it was good. Again, they didn't give you a whole lot, but I think the stuff we got was good. Rollins and Breaker was good. IYO and Asuka was good. Roman and Fatu was good. The Danhausen match, it was what it was. I didn't hate it the way some people are going to hate. I also won't call it good, but I didn't hate it the way that some people may have hated it, although I completely understand it. So on the whole, again, it was good, and we'll see what role Fatu is in going forward. Is he on SmackDown at all? Is he just exclusively going to be a Raw guy? Because we know Gunther has moved over to SmackDown. So who does Raw get? Raw's got to get somebody. Jacob Fatu is right there. If Jacob Fatu is going to wrestle Roman Reigns again anyway in a few weeks, he may as well just make the move. Make it official. But why would Adam Pearce want him now? Adam Pearce got beaten up by him tonight. Adam Pearce literally got thrown out of the ring by this man. If Adam Pearce shows up on Raw Monday night with a fucking contract binder, I'm going to bang my head against the wall. Welcome to Raw, Jacob Fatu. Don't worry about what happened on Saturday. I forgive you. Now they've made it a little bit harder to buy into the idea that he would even want him on Monday Night Raw. So I don't know how they're going to navigate that, but I guess we'll find out. Let's take a look at your super chats. Toya says, I don't think Jacob turned heel. Really? I don't know, man. He beat up the most popular babyface in the company, tried to kill him multiple times. stood over his body in the middle of the ring with the championship held high and got booed by the fans in Tampa. Kind of sounds like a heel turn to me, but maybe you're right. Does the Miz and Danhausen feud remind you of the feud between Bam Bam Bigelow and Doink the Clown? Yeah, in a way it does. And look, it ain't 1994. There were a lot of very silly gimmicks and feuds back then. You know, back then it was also a Doink and Dink. I was cool with like evil heel Doink. Doink and Dink, that was not my jam. I was not a fan of Doink and Dink. Fuck Dink. I have nothing against Tiger Jackson, but fuck Dink. Death Scythe. I did listen to it after you told me about it. It was okay. It was okay. Not a bad tune. The antagonist with a $4.99 says, thank you, Solomonster, fan for 11 years. Wow. I rarely watch wrestling, but love your reviews. Is WWE creatively bankrupt? Tonight will be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've been saying that now for a while. I mean, do you watch the shows? You watch the shows just like I do. You tell me. Yeah, Arnold says it's like JD doubting Swerve's heel turn. Yeah. No matter how many times I said it, he was convinced Swerve hasn't turned heel. I go, really? And I ran down all the reasons, like all the awful things he had done. I'm not convinced he's turned heel. I wonder, he may still not be convinced that Swerve is a heel. Lakers Pat says, does Cena do the Inoki slap to the winner? I don't think he has it within him to do it. The way he would always like apply the STF and everything. Cena is not strong style in the way that Inoki was, so I don't think so, no. Jimmy says, I'm almost upset that we didn't get Jellyhausen. Yeah, I'm not upset about that at all. In fact, I'm totally fine with it. Venom Kitetsu, rank these New York shows. Becker, Seinfeld, and Spin City. Never watched Spin City. Never really watched Becker either, although I am a Ted Danson fan. So I'll go Seinfeld, Becker, and then Spin City. Solo's favorite sicko is with us. Says, can't contribute too often because I'm at risk of having my disability cut off, but you've been a bright spot during bad times. Much love, Solo. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that all works out. That's pretty shitty. But I am here. I am here to be the bright spot that you need in your day. Thank you, brother. Moore says, Darby and Pac was fucking insane. You have to watch it. I will have to try to check that out. GMB with a $4.99 says, you have to watch a match catalog where every wrestler includes a certain first initial. For example, mine would be B. Brett, Brian, Batista, Bianca, Bandito. I'll take that same match catalog. I know it's an easy, cheap cop-out answer, but you got Brett in there. You got a bunch of good people in there. Yeah. Although maybe I don't know, man. It's a pretty good one that you put together there. I'll have to think about that. Dry Chicken says Asuka needs some LeBrock music after her match with IYO. LeBrock music. Hey, LeBrock is awesome. In case you were wondering at the beginning of the review, that is LeBrock. Call Me. Golden Boy. In other news, Mark Davis beat Jungle Boy for the national. Did he? Mark Davis beat Jungle Boy for the national title. Hell fucking yeah. Mark Davis with some gold. And not trios gold. Some singles gold. I'm a mark for Mark Davis. So I'm very happy to hear that. He's been getting a push, he said. Well, something of a push. I'm very happy to hear that. I'm happy for him. Fast Eddie says, Solo, Mortal Kombat 2 was great. I'm ready for Masters of the Universe. Yeah, I enjoyed Mortal Kombat 2. I just saw it yesterday. I enjoyed it. It was just some dumb fun. And I also am looking forward to Masters of the Universe and the back rooms. Before we do Masters of the Universe, we have the back rooms on May 29th. Toya says, oh joy, another classic. That's all we need. That's the John Cena Classic. After that, it'll be the AJ Styles Classic. Z-Ray with a $15 super chat. IYO versus Asuka was the best match of the night, but I agree with you that it seemed like it was Asuka's retirement or final match in WWE. Yeah, I mean, it had that vibe. If it wasn't the end for her, it felt like it might be coming very soon. I hope not, though. Alexander says, whoever wins that Cena championship will gain the ability to not be seen. More championships. Dry Chicken says, thank goodness John Cena didn't announce WWE creating their own version of Forbidden Door. Yes, that is because they will never do a proper version of Forbidden Door, because there is only one door that is forbidden, and that door will not be opened anytime soon. Brody says, finally made it to a live stream. A little late because I had to start the pay-per-view later. Been a fan for a couple of years now. Thank you for everything you do. Brody, I appreciate the $19.99. I appreciate you being here with us tonight. Welcome to the party. Asuka welcomes you too. That's just her way of initiating you into the family here. Dry Chicken. At Backlash. Yeah, well, there's a lot of different ways you could say it. Thank you, Dry Chicken. Thank you for the double drop. The greatest Hausen. The 1999. Grew up watching Memphis wrestling in the 70s and 80s. The Asuka IYO match had the same type of psychology and intensity that those matches had back then. Even down to the foot on the ropes save. Great match. You know, back then you also had the classic Tupelo concession stand brawl. I think IYO and Asuka could probably get one more match out of it if they really wanted to. They could have their own version of a Tupelo concession stand brawl. Hey, Falcon Star, that's not weird at all, brother. We're all friends here. Golden Boy. Says, geez, Darby thrown off a balcony like 20 feet through 4 tables. This guy is going to off himself doing this. Oh, is that what happened in the match with Pac tonight? That's just another night for Darby Allin. Fallen Exposure. They should put us on the payroll if they want us to scout for new talent for them. Yeah. They're outsourcing their own work to us. Plus Ultra Adrian, what's going on? Leopard Toes, pause, Infinity War. Oh man, look at this guy getting shoved around here. Watch what this guy does. This is my favorite part. Watch this, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There you go. That's right. That's right. Toya says Asuka is leaving, I believe. Boots, again with a 10, here to answer the Be the Booker, double Be the Booker open challenge. Well, we're 6 out of 15 on that goal. Dry Chicken says if WWE cut Io and Asuka's match short, Io and Asuka would have beaten up the entire crew from the gorilla position. Well, I don't doubt that they can do it. You don't mess with those Joshis. Did you see what Io did in there with Penta and Lucha Underground? Toya says, I don't think Jacob turned heel. I guess we'll find out this week, won't we? We'll get our answer very soon. Andre Jefferson, hey Solo, are the Usos being affected by the dismantling of the tag team division? They haven't wrestled since WrestleMania, and that was a 6-man tag. All they have been since is a wall between Jacob and Roman. Well, I mean, it's been 3 weeks since WrestleMania. And the focus has been this story with Roman and Jacob, of which they have become parts. So them not wrestling since WrestleMania, I mean, that doesn't really mean a whole lot to me because it's only been a few weeks. And they've been involved in the World Heavyweight title story. And then you add to that, yes, the tag team division is dead and they have nobody to work with. So between those two things, I'm not shocked that they haven't had any matches. Neither has LA Knight. He was part of that match too. Nick Grasso, what are your thoughts on Dark Side of the Ring Season 7? Yeah, I'm going to run down all those topics and my thoughts tomorrow. I have that planned for the sound off, so we will talk about that on the podcast. Thank you, Nick. Along with, by the way, one episode that had been rumored and ended up not being on the list. I'll mention that one too. Plus Ultra Adrian, I heard Stephen King prefers the Mist movie ending. I don't blame him one bit. Yeah, he does. He actually prefers the movie ending to his own ending. I could see why. It's very, very upsetting. It's very... Yeah. Yeah, no, it will not put you in a very good mood. But it is a great... I have to admit, it is a great ending. And J.R. Vischer. Asuka on IG earlier today, she had My Way playing. Did she? Are we talking Limp Bizkit My Way, or are we talking Frank Sinatra? I did it my way. Which My Way are we talking about? Those are two very different My Ways. Ace Italiano, the Renegade, is going to be a topic. Yes, he will be. And Metamorphia, buy, sell, rent, RVD, Hurricane, or Daniel Bryan as Kane's partner. The only correct answer to this question is X-Pac. And he's not even listed here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Undertaker, of course, but Undertaker or X-Pac. As far as Kane tag team partners, those are the only acceptable answers to me. Not Big Show, not Hurricane, even Team Hell No. I wasn't the biggest fan of Team Hell No. But of the options you've given me, I have to go Daniel Bryan, RVD, and sell on Hurricane. Golden Boy. Wednesday's match between Darby and Okada changed to Darby against Takeshita. Okada is in Japan for family business. Is that part of the storyline, or is there like a family emergency that he had to tend to? Hopefully not. Hopefully not an emergency. Oh, Havili is with us. Greetings, Havili. Says this is the 20th anniversary of Backlash 2006. Thoughts on the McMahon versus HBK and God. Thoughts on Takahashi might be going to WWE, and who is most likely to win King of the Ring, Seth or Randy? I hope neither of them. But if it were to come down to Seth Rollins or Randy Orton, then Randy Orton. So that way we can get a proper match run back at some point with him and Cody. I have no interest in seeing Seth Rollins win King of the Ring. We don't even know if they're going to be doing King of the Ring. Yeah, Hiromu is coming to WWE. Probably going to end up in NXT. In fact, that name that people thought was being given to Evil, which he ended up getting a different name altogether. That name could very well be Takahashi's name when he comes in. As far as Backlash 06, yeah, the Vince and God stuff, I mean, I didn't give a shit about it. I just thought it was very stupid. I thought it was very dumb. That's my thought on that. Yes, the time Mr. McMahon would not put over God. Wasn't there some kind of segment or skit or whatever they did in like a church with Vince and Shane and something with holy water? It's ridiculous. All right, well, we hit 7 out of 15 on the bonus goal, so it's not looking like a double be the booker, but the likes goal, if you remember the wheel here, there it is. 515 likes. We are currently sitting at 750. We crushed it. So on that note, let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Here we go. We booked some interesting matches last night in the SmackDown review. See what we come up with here tonight. Tag team wrestling may be dead in WWE, but it's alive and well here in the Solomonster universe. Who just mentioned Daniel Bryan and Kane? Are you kidding me? Look who popped up on my screen. Team Hell No, but we're not picking them because it is choose 2 single stars to form a makeshift team. I just mentioned these two as a team, and they pop up on my screen. It's like it knows. There's no way for it to know, but somehow it does. All right, so we got to pick 4 single stars. That's what we're going to do. This is fate. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what it is. It's all fate. Be the Booker is tired of the tag team division as well. It's rapidly losing interest in tag team wrestling. It's not drawing the way it used to. Earthquake. He got a Dark Side of the Ring episode previously, even though there's not really a lot dark about his career. His passing, though, that was very dark. Earthquake is going to be teaming with, it can't be Typhoon because I know Typhoon is not in here, but it will be Earthquake and Razor Ramon as a tag team. Interesting. What do we call that team? Can't call them the Natural Disasters. So what do we call them? Earthquake and Razor against Christian Cage and his tag team partner. Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix is just happy to be booked. He is ecstatic. He's actually going to work. He's actually booked. Come on over, Ray. You're always welcome here. That's a very interesting match. All right, women's Be the Booker. We got our tag team match. Now we need a women's match. Well, I know the chat will, of course, be very excited about this, but we have Nikita Lyons, who I don't even believe is on NXT anymore. I think she's down in Evolve. I'm trying to figure out who that is underneath her, and I can't tell who it is. I can't tell who that is. Anyway, there she is. Now, Nikita Lyons is going to go one-on-one with who? Let's find out. Should have been me. With Julia from Stardom, which is the best version of Julia, but I don't know about this match. I mean, how good can she be if she was sent down from NXT to Evolve? Should I approve this? What do you think? Can Stardom Julia get a really good match out of this? I have hopes. I have hopes. Oh, she was on NXT last week. Okay. Yeah, but was that the first time in a while, or is she back in NXT? Lost to Izzy Dame. Julia will make it work. I think she will too. I think she'll be extra motivated to make that work. And in our main event of the evening, yeah, we picked Julia a lot in this. I think Be the Booker is trying to communicate something here. Yeah. Our main event has Austin Theory. I can already see where this is going. I can already see where this is going. Oh, no, wait a minute. This changes everything here. Wow, a little swerve there. We got a swerve. Hold on. I was not expecting that. Shawn Michaels, 1996. Shawn Michaels against Austin Theory. Well, that just changed my entire perspective on this match. Yeah, that would be good. That would be a good match. Look at that. You got yourselves a clean sweep. Should all be very proud. Doesn't happen too often. We got Philly Town. Would you rather have the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view return or the 24/7 championship? I don't want either one, dude. I don't want either one of them. But if you force me to choose, then just bring back the 24/7 title.
How would you folks like to see a tag team match, player?
Oh, yeah.
I think I'd like to see that too. Ring the bell.
I like that guy. See, that guy lays down the law. Who is that guy? I want that guy to be the general manager. Tag team wrestling. See, that's what it's all about right there. Telling it like it is. That was Havili, a $36 super chat. Thank you, Havili. Havili's on a roll here. Says, it seems every time Brock Lesnar returns, the original plans change. In your opinion, on the original plan was most likely we got Riddle winning the Royal Rumble match in 2022. Ali winning Money in the Bank or Cena winning number 17 against Roman. Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, there were at least reports or rumors each time that these things were going to happen. So he's saying, I guess, which one would I buy on? Matt Riddle winning the Rumble in 2022? Ali winning Money in the Bank or Cena winning? Yeah, the Cena thing, yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen. So basically, this is from Cena himself. Cena said the original plan at SummerSlam in 2021, when he wrestled Roman, was for him to win the championship from Roman. He was going to win number 17. But then they were going to do something where the match got, I don't know if it was restarted or they started a new match immediately after, and Roman immediately won the belt back. So, like, he gets number 17, but it's like a footnote in history. It's like he had the belt for like 5 minutes. I go, that is a fucking terrible idea. And I'm very happy it didn't work out that way. Instead, what ended up happening was Brock made his big return that night. And that was the first time we saw Brock with the ponytail and, you know, Cowboy Brock. So I think things worked out the way they were supposed to work out that time. Ali really got fucked. I got to say, I would go with Ali. I wish Ali was able to win Money in the Bank. Like, he didn't find out until he, like, legitimately, I think, was about to go to the ring. And Vince pulled him aside and basically said, hey, this is what we're doing. And like everybody else in the match that night, they had no idea. They thought Ali was winning. The whole day they're congratulating him, like, congrats, man. Like, so now he gets told before he's going through the curtain, like, change of plans. Brock's winning. So when you're up on the ladder, wait for him to come out. And now he's going out there like, all right, good luck, kid. And he's going out there. He's like, shit. What must be going through his mind? What must be going through everybody else's mind in that match when they see this happen? They're like, what the fuck? This is not the plan. Yeah, he got screwed. EJ Slime says, I watched the Patterson Slaughter Alley fight. The Vault just uploaded. Hell of a match. If Hiromu goes to WWE, is Daryl coming too, or is he staying in Japan? I believe that Daryl is having work visa issues, and so Daryl will not be making the trip. Unless they can get those visa issues worked out very quickly. I mean, you don't want Daryl to come over without a proper work visa, and then he gets caught, he gets deported. It's like a 5-year ban. That's what happened to Speedball. He got banned from the U.S. for 5 years. That's why he's working so much these days. He's making up for lost time. I remember it was WrestleMania. I think it was the first WrestleMania week after he was allowed back into the States. So this was a few years ago. And Speedball, he worked like that 1 week. He worked like 10 matches. It was like something crazy like that. It's like, I have all this time I have to make up for. And Clone Force with 24 months of channel membership. Can I get a birthday shout out? I'm turning 27 tomorrow. Yes, you may. Happy birthday, Clone Force. Happy 27th birthday. In 15 minutes, it will be your birthday. Yeah, that's right. Ali was also supposed to win the North American title from Dominic. That's right. In NXT. Shawn Michaels was using him in NXT. He was going to win the championship. They had a PLE match announced. And they cut him. Like Kairi Sane in the middle of the story. They cut her. They cut Ali. Man, this guy he just had no luck in that company, man. But I'm glad to see him doing well in other places. He's a great talent. Don't stay in the 27 club. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that River Phoenix and all those guys? Is that the 27 club? Yeah, you don't want to be in that club. You need to get to 28 as quickly as possible. Stay away from that. Fried Chicken says, if I would work with Brock Lesnar in a match, I would purposely go into business for myself while Vince was in charge, like a... You would go into business for yourself against Brock Lesnar? Rest in peace, Fried Chicken. It was nice knowing you. And Philly Town, if you could pick the biggest problem in WWE and fix it, what would it be? The biggest problem in WWE is unfixable. Because it's called, it's 3 initials, TKO. And, from that stems, the high ticket prices, the over commercialization. It all goes back to TKO. Those are honestly the biggest issues right now with WWE. Then you get into the creative, and creative is a subjective thing. I mean, we could talk about the lack of a tag team division, or women's division on certain shows, or the character building stuff I talked about before. I mean, there's lots of little issues like that. The bigger issues, unfortunately, are unfixable right now, given who's in charge. Starboy Bebop, did you ever watch Mortal Kombat Legacy? I did not, no. And Sean Waters could have sworn when Cena was doing the Oba strut in the suit, I saw Vince McMahon doing the strut. I told you, he reminded me very much of a younger Vince McMahon, including when he did the strut. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hey, tomorrow, brand new episode of The Sound Off, episode 962, is going to be dropping later in the afternoon. I will have a lot to say on just the news of the week in general. And, oh, wait a minute. Wait just a second here.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Mentos, I love it. It's my favorite super chat. Mentos, the fresh maker. Yukio rules. Just wanted to show you some love, and I love this super chat. So do I. Anytime you are having a bad day or stuck in a rut, just pop a Mentos and it all goes away. That's what the commercial used to tell me. But I was saying on the Sound Off tomorrow, we'll talk about the fallout from Backlash. Got some news on Nick Khan from the WWE financial side, and a lot to say about the passing of Ted Turner, which was, in the grand scheme of things when it comes to wrestling, actually a very, very important figure in the history of wrestling. So we'll talk about him, and I got some legal news to go over, including our friend Alberto back in the news, and Raja Jackson. So that'll be tomorrow on episode 962. Twisted Wrister. It was Frank Sinatra My Way for Asuka. Well, that's not good. Havili with a 7. If WrestleMania 38 wasn't a title for title winner take all between Brock and Roman, what would be the WWE Championship match? What What would the match have been? Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Solomonster. The GOAT favorite rap group. I love how we just stuck that in there at the end there. It's hard, man. It's like we may as well have stuck that in there at the end. What? And thank you, Solomonster. And by the way, what is the Pythagorean theorem? I'm not sure, Havili. Favorite rap group? I mean, I can go NWA, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot to choose from. Wu-Tang. I mean, Wu-Tang is a good choice. Can't go wrong there. What was the other question? Oh, if it wasn't a title for title match, I have to put myself back in the 2022, right? 2022 roster. Man, I don't know. Brock had the belt that belonged to Raw. He took the belt from Big E, I believe. Big E maybe goes into Mania as the champion against Rollins. Does that sound about right? I'm trying to remember what was going on at that time. Let's see. Brody, a piece of music from the Dark Knight soundtrack came on shuffle the other day. Aggressive Expansion. Gives me chills every time. Yeah, the main, I'll have to look that one up. The main, the soundtrack for that is just fantastic. So is the soundtrack for the Batman. After I watched the movie finally, I was like, let me pop on over to Spotify and just listen to some of the soundtrack. And it's very good. Z-Ray. Oh my God, Z-Ray with 1, with 2, with 3. Look, it's Z-Ray. He's going crazy. And would you believe it? Z-Ray got us to 15 out of 15 on the goal. Look at his crazy SOB, one right after the other. Look at all these 10 spots here. He really wanted that double be the booker. This is officially, by the way, the Z-Ray Classic. Although Havili is nipping at his heels here. Havili is right behind him, but forget the John Cena Classic. We have the Z-Ray Classic tonight. I am officially naming this next round to be the booker after Z-Ray. And Brian Finelli, too, coming in, too, with the assist. Thank you, Brian. Brian doing his part, too. This is what a team effort looks like. This is great teamwork here. CMJ World says Backlash felt like more of a Saturday night's main event than a PLE. Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. I thought WrestleMania felt more like a Saturday night's main event, let alone Backlash. Night 1 of WrestleMania this year felt like a Saturday night's main event. And Garbage Pail Kid. I had a weird dream that Bushy Road bought WWE. What does it mean? Is it a message? I would love it if Bushy Road bought WWE. Actually, maybe not. They're very strict when it comes to content creators. That might not be a good idea. Actually, it's not even really a Bushy Road thing. That's more TV Asahi. So, sure, maybe Bushy Road can buy it from TKO. What do you think? I doubt they could afford it. Alexander, we need a third night of Giant Gonzalez. Oh, shit, that's right. This would be the third time this week, right? We had Giant Gonzalez against John Cena on Monday. We had Giant Gonzalez again in Be the Booker last night, although I don't remember who his opponent was. Oh, it was Karrion Kross. And so this could very well be. This could be the third night of Giant Gonzalez. Let's find out. Let's go back. Oh, jeez. Shut up. I forgot to turn all that off. Okay. You have unlocked the bonus round. And when we do this, what is Bushy Road? Bushy Road owns New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Stardom? I think Stardom. There was some sort of ownership change recently. But anyway, that is the parent company of New Japan Pro Wrestling, for those who don't know. Am I planning on seeing Masters of the Universe? Yes, I am. I was a big He-Man fan as a kid. I saw the first movie, first live-action movie. Saw the cartoon as a kid. Used to have all the toys. He-Man and Man-at-Arms, Orko, Battle Cat, Skeletor, Trapjaw. All right, here we go. Stipulation for our first match. It's going to be a Monsters Ball match. Oh, it says, yeah, Bushy Road sold Stardom. That just happened recently. That's what I was trying to remember. All right, so it's going to be a, I guess what, a tag, do we do tag team match first? I guess so, yeah. Tag team Monsters Ball match. Don't get too many of those. The Shield, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose in a Monsters Ball. Oh, this is right up Moxley's alley. He's going to bleed. There's going to be some blood here in this Monsters Ball match. They're going to take on Booker T and Goldust. That's a fine match. We got some stars. We got some names. Moxley will absolutely bleed. Our second match. Our women's match. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Again? What is the obsession with eyes? We land on this far too often. Eye for an eye. And with the women, no less, too. I feel like we've had a bunch of women's eye for an eye matches. Yeah, I don't understand. Well, one of the ladies is losing an eye. It's like Kano in Mortal Kombat. All right, let's see who's losing an eye here. Hikaru Shida. Look at the look on her face. It looks like she already lost one. She looks like she's in great pain. It looks like she lost her left eye because there's some green goo. It looks like there's some green goo leaking out of her left eye. Her eyes are closed, but it looks like there's, I don't know, some sort of, I don't know what that, pus or something that's leaking out. Anyway, let's find out who her opponent is going to be. Mina and Mariah want to make this a three-way match. Okay, well then I guess we have two opponents to pick instead of one. We better get to it. Opponent number one for Shida. Trish Stratus. That'd be a great match. But we have one more. We're not done yet. We have Hikaru Shida. We have Trish Stratus. And we have Chris Statlander, who is literally at the moment in a team/program story with Hikaru Shida, who is likely going to go heel on her any week now. And what a match that is. Even though the stipulation sucks, How am I going to give a buzz to a match with Trish Stratus, Hikaru Shida, and Chris Statlander? Are you kidding me? Unfortunately, Shida is losing an eye. So she's going to have to start wearing an eye patch going forward. Poor Shida. But that's just the way it goes. And in our main event, unless our boy Z-Ray goes crazy again and gets us a triple bonus, it all boils down to this. We got to pick a good one here. No eye for an eye. Can you imagine we land on that again? Okay. I can live with this. A ladder match. A good old-fashioned ladder match. So they announced on Collision tonight that there is a four-way for the women's title at Double or Nothing, with Tekla defending against Statlander, Shida, and Jamie Hayter. Okay, well, that's definitely an angle alert. Something's going down there with Shida and Statlander. Oh, look at this. Big pop-up pump. Scott Steiner. Look at those arms. Ugh, it's disgusting. It's like he's storing food for the winter inside his bicep. What is that? They look like bicep implants. But he is your hookup. Holler if you hear him. And now we must pick an opponent for Big Papa Pump. Eddie Guerrero and Scott Steiner in a ladder match. Back-to-back sweeps. The only thing is, Scott Steiner should not be in a ladder match. Big Papa Pump should not be in a ladder match, especially if he has drop foot syndrome. He should not be climbing ladders. That is not going to end well. Let Eddie do the climbing. Well, I would say that's a hell of a card we put together right there. I'm glad we had that bonus round. That was better than the first one that we did. And no Giant Gonzalez. The streak is over. Philly Town, what's your favorite ECW memory? And you missed the last one. Let's find out. Ah, there it is. Are you afraid the WWE will start sending Cena out in a suit every pay-per-view to milk announcements and attendance numbers? They're not going to send him out there for every pay-per-view, but I do think that they will want to use him as much as they possibly can. And I think that he'll be willing to do it as long as he's available, because he usually says yes to whatever they need him for. I get the sense that he very rarely says no to them. I think the key with him is just not to put him out there too many times. You don't want to overexpose him. But what's your favorite ECW memory? You know what? For me, I think it would probably be at the first one night stand in 2005, Sandman's entrance. Just hearing that song again, seeing him up in the balcony at the Hammerstein and making his way through, everybody singing along to the song, and it's one of those moments I wish I was there that night. And I've been in that building like so many times in the years after that. I was in that building for Ring of Honor. I'm like, man, why didn't I go to that show? Like, to be in the crowd for that moment would have been electric. It would have been unbelievable. Havili, 34 months of channel membership. Any chance of House of Glory going overseas? Maybe Australia? No international travel plans right now. Nothing planned right now. Right now, we're focusing on U.S. expansion. We have a whole bunch of cities that we plan on running. So we'll take it 1 month at a time. No plans for global domination just yet. Have you watched season 3 of LFG? I have not. Have you listened to the Undertaker podcast with John Cena? Was that the one that they did over WrestleMania week? I did. Dry chicken, Moxley and Rollins against Booker and Goldust. Match ends in a no contest because a zombie apocalypse breaks out. Both teams will help you survive. For a Monsters Ball match, that sounds about right. We got Navy, 4181. Hope Ventura comes back for Saturday night's main event. What kind of BS is that? Walking out the door? He's too honest for them. They don't like that. WWE will buy House of Glory before that happens? Before we go to Australia? Probably, yeah. They're gonna buy HOG, and then what happens to the commissioner? The commissioner's out of a job. I better get that no cut clause put into my contract very soon to protect me. Renzo, the John Cena Classic winner reward is we never see them again. Well, hey, the first female winner of LFG Season 1. Right, big LFG winner, and they cut her. She is gone. It's very possible that could happen. Chicago 4 MBK, one of our brand new members. First month. Really awesome to be part of your community. Well, we're very happy to have you. So enjoy your stay. And the sweet emojis, by the way, that you now have access to. Also, Luis. We go from a first-month member to Luis, who is a 59-month member. WWE better keep an eye on this Andy's hantavirus situation. Yeah, I don't think they're too worried about it right now. They're all trying to play it down, but I guess we'll see. Where is that cruise ship, by the way? Did it dock anywhere? I don't think they were doing any kind of contact tracing for the people who left the ship. They just walked off the ship and went home. I'm like, oh, that's great. Now, I'm not too worried about this one right now, though, based on what they're saying. EJ Slime, buy or sell, more ridiculous and hilarious. Darby against Mox, some hold barred, blood banned, or Eddie Kingston against Ishii, chops barred. If you bar the chops, I don't know that there's a match. What do they do if you ban the chops in an Eddie Kingston Ishii match? What does that match look like? Raccoon City is where it docked. Uh-oh. What could go wrong? I'm going to buy on... I'm actually going to buy on Eddie and Ishii because I'm very curious what that match looks like in 2026 if you bar them from throwing a single chop. Ala Bugwathi. Hope Lash Legend starts using the old atomic drop. Yeah, nobody uses the atomic drop anymore. I'd like to see someone start using the atomic drop again. That or the atomic wedgie. Either one. Z-Ray. The channel member. Man, Z-Ray is killing it tonight. Dry Chicken says, with 21 months of membership, we love you, Solo. Here's Jack and Coke for tomorrow. I just had one during Backlash tonight. Funny you should mention that. Actually, in the, I'm not giving anything major away here, but in that Mortal Kombat movie, there actually is a reference. There is a Jack and Coke reference, and I popped. I might have been the only person sitting in the movie theater who popped for a fucking Jack and Coke reference in the middle of a Mortal Kombat movie. Philly Town. I met RVD and Enzo in Vegas during WrestleMania week. Do you think they both should have been pushed more? I think RVD could have had a World Heavyweight Championship run, and I believe he was supposed to. And things happened behind the scenes. And then Triple H retained. It's funny how that works. As far as Enzo, it just felt like Enzo was his own worst enemy during that first run. Uffman with 61 months. Also wondering if you can give a birthday shout out to Mrs. Uff today. Jenny is a proud Solomonster girl. Oh, it is. That's the second birthday we have, right? We have someone turning 27, and we have someone else now celebrating a birthday.
Do you feel him, sir?
And Cody Rhodes feels you. And so do I. Happy birthday, Jenny. I hope it's a great one. Thank you for all the support. My gift to you is going to be the sound off later in the day tomorrow. Brett would have liked that no chops match. If Bret Hart was the commissioner, he would institute a rule: all chops banned. Can you imagine, like in a modern day wrestling promotion, if you banned all chops and all dives out of the ring? I feel like the wrestling business would just come to a standstill. They would be standing in the ring and they would be looking around like they don't know what to do with each other. There's certain rules that need to be implemented. Brody says, I'm in the Baltimore-Hartford County area. If HOG comes to the area, may I suggest the UMBC Arena? Been to a couple of Ring of Honor shows there, and it was fun. Yeah, I've been made aware of that building. I don't know what the capacity is. You know, first time in a market like that, you don't want to run a building that's too big. And yeah, all things are on the table. Linkmaster X, Gunther should have retired the New Day. And Don Stoney. Shout out to Don Tony Wrestling Soup and Spitball Media. And as always, R.I.P. Kev Castle. Yes, indeed. It was hard to believe last month was the anniversary. But shout out to all the boys. All OGs in the community. Thank you, Don Stoney. Gunther needs to retire Asuka before she calls it a career. I think Asuka should retire Gunther. If he's going to retire Asuka, she ain't going down without a fight. I can promise you that. Anyway, thank you guys. This has been a fun stream. You guys killed it on the chats, on the questions. We did double be the booker. I think we booked some pretty good matches tonight. Better than Backlash. Again, sound off. Episode 940. Oh my God, 940. 962. I'm actually taking the under on the number of episodes I've done. 962 is dropping tomorrow. And I believe this week we have all of our usual streams. We have Raw, the post show on Monday. We have a brand new episode of the Uncrowned Wrestling Show on Tuesday. Oh, okay. No TNT this week on Tuesday. That's what it is. There's no Tuesday Night Titans, but I believe we are bumping it to Thursday. So the initials still work. I think this week it's Thursday Night Titans. Dynamite post show, SmackDown, all the usual stuff. So it's going to be a loaded week. Hope you all join me for it. Be well. Stay safe. Hit that like button on your way out. And I'll see you back here for more Sound Off live on YouTube very soon. Until then, take care, guys.